Well, everybody's usually excited to get a free piano, if that conveys, but just know that in many instances, when you get an older piano like this, that it's not worth investing any money into. It's just an artifact, unfortunately, but okay, but we're here for the water heater. We're in the east attic space. This is the temperature pressure relief valve and safety pan combo drain line. Okay, this is a Bradford White. It's a serial number M, so I'll have to look that up to determine the age, but that will be on the report. It's again 50 gallons. And again, it does have a safety pan. Now this is the temperature pressure relief valve drain line here, and it's not supposed to terminate farther from the pan than 6 inches. As it is now, if the water comes out, it's coming out at 200 psi at 200 degrees, and it's just spraying like crazy, and it'll bounce out of that pan. So, and this isn't my favorite arrangement, but it's, this arrangement, the gap before continuing, that meets the City of Dallas's code. In fact, it's required by code. So, how I feel about it is irrelevant. But that idea that this drain pipe does not discharge any closer to the pan than 6 inches is relevant. That's wrong. A lot of home inspectors will tell you this flexible temperature pressure relief valve drain line is improper, but there is not a code that actually addresses that. Okay, what it does address is threaded ends. And I know that you're not going to cap this temperature pressure relief valve off. I know that. But that's what the code is for, and you're not supposed to be able to. Someone couldn't, by chance, cap it off. It should not be threaded, so that's not threaded. The gas piping coming to the water heater should have a sediment trap right there, and the sediment trap to keep impurities from going into the burner compartment. And speaking of burner compartment, which I can't get into because it's tankless, but I can see a lot of rust in there. I can see some rust. Okay, so that's on your tanks. This isn't probably not a new spring chicken. So we do not have a gas sediment trap. It does have electronic ignition. The water supply lines coming to the water heater, they're supposed to have dielectric unions, and that's, that piping right there is considered a dielectric union. So, and this I'm not so sure of. Got a little bit of corrosion going on in there. And Texas Real Estate Commission says any corrosion. Well, I'm seeing it. I see some corrosion in there. So the dielectric union is questionable. Okay, this piping should be insulated as it gets to the tank. And there's also a code somewhere it says you're not supposed to solder within 12 inches of the tank. This is the hot water supply. And the reason for that rule, and the reason why it's not going to make my report, is because this is the cold water intake. And soldering this close at one time, there were plastic dip tubes. You got a tube that goes all the way to the bottom of the tank. So the water comes in and fills the tank up from the bottom. And then the hot water comes out. So this is where the dip tube would be. And again, it goes to the bottom. And for a while there, they were plastic. And that's why the code was changed. Because if you soldered too close to this tank, which they did not, you could melt the tube and fall down, and then you would short cycle. So it'd be easy to say that it shouldn't have been soldered so close, but that has no effect on the tank. Where the water supply lines penetrate through the walls, there should be escutcheon plates, those little pie-shaped plates, kind of like that. Is a thimble, okay, or a fire blocking plate in this particular, application, but you should have little round escutcheons around the water supply lines. The water supply lines, again, should be insulated, and the temperature pressure relief valve should be insulated, and you should have a care and use manual. So what did we learn? We learned that our water supply lines are not insulated. We learned that our TMP is not insulated. We learned that our TMP is threaded. We learned that the TMP drain line discharges too far away from the pan. We learned that we do not have a sediment trap for the gas line. We do not have escutcheon plates for the water lines. And we do not have a care and use manual. So a care and use manual is not proven. Okay, bonus round. Besides the piano advice, the PVC piping along this wall is not properly supported. That's why it's sagging like that. Okay, it's vent piping. I get you're probably not going to get a lot of up thrust from that, but it should have been, just like it's fastened to the wall there, it should have been, fastened as well. Now, speaking of fastening, you're not supposed to fasten it, okay, with perforated plumber's tape. Perforated plumber's tape. You're not supposed to fasten it with that stuff. It's supposed to be a solid tape or something else. So it's improperly fastened and not properly supported. Coming along here, this is some PEX line. We've got PEX line coming into the home. This has not been identified as hot or cold. I'm supposing that, and I know this is a very short run, I'm supposing that I can tell you what, I can put my hand on it. That's cold. It's all cold. How cold is this? I'm feeling warm. I'm feeling it. Is this warmer? Okay, a little warmer. So it's sitting for a while. But we got PEX line in here, inside this little hole. Whatever that's about. Can we get in here? Okay, that's been identified as hot and cold. It also has not been insulated. It has not been insulated. And while I'm in here, and we're still on the plumbing section, see that flexible drain line for the bathtub? That is approved. It looks like the old accordion stuff that home inspectors were calling out, and but it's got a smooth interior, so that's not an issue. But our PEX lines should have been insulated in the attic space. Our vent pipe should have been better supported.